Okay, we're here for the business blog. Going to give you an update with Tom, Director of Strategic Marketing, making sure pictures are hanging level and drill holes, etc., etc. Tom, why don't you bring us up to date we're 2 months downrange in 2011. How's the year going so far?
It's going really well. We're very, very happy. Obviously, we put a lot of money into it in December. In terms of matting and equipment and bits and pieces. But the year is going well. We're happy. We're never content, which I think is very important to point out to people. I think once you get content, you may forget it. But no, we'll probably close out. I would say we close out this month at about 132, 133 clients. We have a couple of guys who are moving on, and that's to be expected. And for people who are watching this and don't own boxes and are just curious, there is that bell curve of people who start with you and they might do 2 sessions a week and 3 sessions a week. Then they work their way up and they start getting into advanced and they're pushing really hard. But eventually they'll slow down and they'll move on to something else. They'll buy equipment for at home and they'll start to do this stuff themselves and move on to something else. So I'm very happy with how it's going, but as always it could be going that little bit better.
Cool. What's been the hardest thing so far in 2011?
The hardest thing is probably staying on top of all this stuff, these are my really fun and friendly folders, like your bank, your PAYE, PRSI, VAT, our expenses for 2011, your PR events, workshops, courses, all that sort of stuff, building and planning stuff which we have going on at the moment, which is stressful, and there's a lot involved in that. And then intros and stuff like that we do, and I have a couple of other ones that we keep online as well. So staying on top of that is always a problem, and always something to stay focused on. And the next thing really is continually reinvesting. That's in terms of training for us, for you guys particularly as coaches, investing financially in equipment and the layout of the premises. And one of the things we've just started doing is you and Will is the gymnastic stuff. So that's something that's difficult, is to continually reinvest when at times you do not have the money. But that's one of the biggest things at the moment. Yeah.
Cool. So professionally, what's the big goal you have right now for the year?
I want to close out the year. I would like to close out the year, and this month, every month adds up to that end goal. I want to close out the year at about 230 clients. But also I want me and Will to have a nicer sort of lifestyle. Doing this 60, 70 hours a week, it gets tiring, it gets stressful, and you've got to stay at it, and we love it, but I'd like us to have just a little bit more of a lifestyle adjustment in that we have a little bit more free time, and we're making use of our free time. So that's probably the biggest one for me.
Cool. And just before we sign off, one last question. How does now compare to this time last year, if you can cast your mind back?
Oh, I mean, it's a different planet. Anyone who's been here, and if you're watching, if you click on our Facebook page and go down, one of the galleries shows where we were sort of this time last year. It's grey concrete floor. There's very little equipment. There's very few members. I think it's like anything. The principles are the same. The numbers just get bigger, and the stresses do in spots get bigger. But we've come on hugely. Scott Hayes from Northern Ireland came down and said, every time he comes down here, the place gets better. There's more energy. There's more atmosphere. So comparing them is very difficult to do. But we're in a much nicer position from a business point of view, because we now know where we're going. And know that this is a very, very viable business, and does something very, very special for people. So it's a different place, but the stresses are similar enough. We love it, and that's a big part of it.
Cool. Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thanks a million.